it going, everyone? Welcome back to Brown Family Acres. In today's video we are going to continue our series of growing your own groceries. In this video will be part 2, and we're going to talk about growing your own beef. Here on our farm we start with bottle calves, and then we grow them into full stocker calves or stocker bulls to go to the butcher. So in this video today we are here in the calving hutch. This is also where we do our kidding when we have our goats have kids. But here we have Harold and Larry. These are our two bull calves. Harold is steered. Larry still has his, so he is still a bull. We're still deciding whether or not we are going to steer him, and if we do, that'll be here in the next couple of days. So once you have your calves, currently we have 2 Jersey calves. These are both Jersey calves, and then we have a Angus heifer out in the field. But once you decide what you're going to do, whether it be bottle calves or feeder calves or a couple month old calves, it all depends on how much work you want to put into it. Starting with bottle calves is the most extensive process, dealing with the bottles, making them bottles every day, moving them up to buckets, and then getting them weaned onto just grain or hay. But we started bottle calves with these two. Harold is almost 2 months old, and Larry just hit a month. So they are both pretty much weaned. Alright. So we designed this calving hutch to hold 7 calves at once. Currently we just have the 2, but we have enough room for 7 altogether. We only have 2 right now because we're in the process of kidding season, and we have 5 does that are possibly going to be giving birth here soon. So we wanted to make sure we had enough space for them as well, since they share the space. But this is a 3x4 area. All 7 are 3x4s, and they have a run out here that they can go out and get fresh grass. But we keep their area fresh with mulch. We mulch all their areas, and we give them hay and grain. Once these guys have been weaned, they get their grain increased, but they get hay, grain, and a bucket of water in each of their pens. And depending on whether or not they're going to be bottle fed or bucket fed, depending on where they're at in the process, they get that as well. So we started these guys on their bottles, and for about 2 weeks they were on bottles, and then we started transitioning them into a bucket, which is a little easier because you're not worrying about having to give them each a bottle at once. You could buy the little racks for the bottles to put them on, but it's a lot easier, especially when we have 7 in total, to just get them on the bucket. So once you have the bucket, you'll just mix your powder with warm water, and then they'll get that bucket about twice a day. Something a little extra we do is we add 2 eggs for the first month, and then with these guys, they got on grain pretty quick. So normally we'll go about 8 weeks on a bottle, but I think Larry was 6 weeks and Harold only lasted 4 weeks until he was fully weaned. So and then they get about a pound of feed when they're starting out, and then we moved these guys up to, they're at about 3 pounds each now. And then of course they get the fresh grass, and we give them hay. And then when they graduate, which will be here very shortly, probably in the next couple weeks, they will go out to the pasture with Hershey and live the pastured life. Something different we're also doing is we're going to experiment, and that's why we haven't decided whether or not we're going to steer Larry here, because we might do 1 steer and 1 bull fed on grain the whole time, and we just want to see what the texture of the meat and the taste and how much meat we get back based on how they are fed out. So let's go out to the pasture and we'll show you Hershey. All right, so we are out here in the pasture. We have about 5 acres of pasture that we have split up into 5 paddocks, so about roughly 1 acre each. So there's Victor. He's gonna knock the camera over, maybe. There he goes. Okay. We have the paddock split up between the cow and the horse, and then the goats. So the goats lead the pasture rotation, and then the cows and the horse follow. So currently we are in the cow-horse pasture with the goats back here in the next pasture. I don't know if you could see that far away, but right back there. So here is Hershey. She is pushing 4 years old. She'll be 4 years old this July. We had a Holstein bull that was the same age as her. He got butchered at about a little over 2 years old. Both of these guys, her as well as our other bull, were strictly grass-fed. When he was butchered at 2 years old, he gave us about 490 pounds of meat, and it was the best we have so far. So I'm curious to see how our experiment goes. But when those two are finished and graduate out of the weaning area, they will come out here with her and Victor and start their paddock rotation with them. So back in the calving hutch here, a few things I want to note is starting calves and growing your own beef is not something that will happen overnight, and it is a lot of cost up front, especially calves, and especially right now in this market we have right now. So that's why we kind of partner or pair our calves and our goat operation together, because we have to fund our calves in some manner before we can actually sell the beef, instead of coming out of pocket. So come with me over here and I'll show you what we do to offset our costs for our calves. All right, so we are over here on the kidding side, and here we have Chelsea. She recently just gave birth to 2 beautiful Nigerian kids. I'm going to go in here very shortly and pull them out, but I'm going to do it slowly, not to stress any of them out. But Chelsea here is first-time mom here on our farm. We got her about 6 months ago, and her and Dexter have kidded 2, 1 doe and 1 buck, I believe, if I remember correctly. It's a doe and a buck. When I go in here, I'll make sure. But this is how we fund our calves, as well as any future things that we do with the goats. Roughly, we get 2 kids per doe. That's how our buck Dexter has graciously provided us the last 3 years of our kidding. But Chelsea here kidded these 2. It's been about a week, and she had them by herself, and she has no issues. So yeah, we have 1 doe and 1 buck. They're about a week old, and they have been doing really well, eating and drinking. Well, they eat and drink from the same thing, but they have been eating off of mama very well. Here's the doe. Very, very cute. But like I said, Chelsea is one of the 5 does that are kidding this season. So roughly we should get about 10 kids if everything goes well. And then out of those 10 kids, we will probably keep about 5% of the does, depending on how well they do and their coloring and how much they will match into our herd. And then the rest will be sold, and they will fund the calves as well as the future goats that we may add to our herd. Well, that's all we have for you in today's video from Growing Your Own Groceries Part 2, Growing Your Own Beef. We hope that we were able to shed some insight onto some possible ways that you can grow your own groceries and utilizing beef to do so. If you liked our video today, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you want to stay tuned for the next few parts of this series, go ahead and subscribe so you can get notifications of our next videos. Other than that, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.